Hello beauties, this is Suzette Winona Summers. I'm at the park and I have it all to myself because it's threatening to rain, and I guess other people are not interested in seeing whether it rains or not. Oh look, a little flower crown hanging from a tree. It's all dried up now. Anyway, I wanted to come on and talk about if you ever have been in a relationship, like either a romantic relationship or a relationship, a friendship, where you're like, it's just, you end it and maybe you don't end it, maybe you're still friends or whatever, and you're just feeling all like, ugh, right? Like icky, like I don't like this, and angry. Maybe you're like, oh, I hate that person. And I know, like, sometimes you have to go there in order to make the break. But I just want to share that when we do that, when we go to that place of like anger and blaming and like it's all their fault, or if they just did something different, when we're in that place, that's a place of our small self. And also when we're in that like heated, emotional like place, it's also an indication that we're acting out of our child self. Because our child self tends to want their way. They get their feelings hurt. They mix things up. They're only looking at their part. They're not looking at the full story. So those are some ways to know whether it's, look at this pretty tree, whether it's your adult self, your bigger self, or your small self. And that small self, it's also the place where we become victims, where we feel like victims. So if you're in that place, if you're feeling that, if you're like, go there and go there deep and allow yourself to flow and allow those emotions to move through you and honor it. Honor those emotions, honor every feeling. It's like, sometimes in the community of consciousness and people who want to evolve and are consciously trying to, there's this tendency of trying to be so evolved and so like, I don't feel anything, or I'm going to, control all my thoughts and emotions and never get angry and never get upset. And, we are human. We are here to learn lessons, and it's beautiful when we get that opportunity. These holy relationships, every relationship is a holy relationship. And when we get that opportunity to explore that and get into our big self, where we connect and we say, wow, what is my lesson here? And it's really beautiful when two people can learn a lesson together. They learn their lesson, you learn your lesson, and you can both honor that holy connection. Because that's what we're here for. We're here for growth and to help each other evolve and develop and become more conscious and to become fuller, more alive, more radiant beings. There is so much to explore in this world. There are so many feelings and so many thoughts and so many opportunities for growth. And if you're in your small self, be in your small self, but also be willing to step into that larger self. Be willing to, I think you become willing once you go through the emotions and you let those emotions rage and flow. And, sometimes it's like, rah! Or crying, or sometimes it's laughing. You move those emotions, and then you have the tendency, you have the openness, you have that expansiveness where you can rise up and look at the bigger picture and recognize, oh, this person is a mirror for me. I'm getting to learn some things about myself here. And they also have the opportunity to learn things about themselves, but you have no control over what anybody else learns. That's their work and their opportunity. But to really honor your opportunity and to take it and to look at it. And it's not always comfortable, and growth is not always comfortable. And, we talk about that, and that's okay. That's okay. It really is okay. Let yourself be uncomfortable. Let yourself feel awkward. Let yourself feel angry. Let yourself feel it all, because that's where the growth happens. And as we expand and grow and develop and acknowledge and allow ourselves to flow with that energy, we see things differently. We process things quicker. We metabolize the emotions quicker. We metabolize the thoughts quicker. We can shift from a small view, from that small limited self, that child self, to a larger, expansive, more universal self, looking at the situation and seeing, that's the other part too. The child self tends to turn things into everything's good or everything's bad. And I hear in another group that I work with, some people were talking about the empath, narcissist dynamic. And, I really try to stay away from labeling people as things. And I understand a lot of people are using that term right now. But the truth is, the most radiant, beautiful, kind people can be really toxic sometimes. And the most toxic, harmful people can really be kind sometimes. We are humans. We are a spectrum of being. We have it all within us. We have the potential for all of it within us. So when we acknowledge that in ourselves, and learn to have compassion for ourselves and the spectrum of ways of being that exist in ourselves and are expressed through ourselves, then we have the ability, we have that spaciousness to be compassionate with others as they're experiencing their spectrum. And we are all experiencing life, and we have this tendency of reverting back to behaviors that have worked for us in the past to get our way, or to influence others or manipulate others. That's just the human condition. But when we expand into our larger self, then we're able to take responsibility. We're able to say, hey, wow, I'm starting to be manipulative, or I'm being controlling. And that's growth. Honor that. If you can see that in yourself, honor that, because you don't have to be perfect. The intent is to grow, and growth requires us to look at ourselves. And it requires us not only to acknowledge it, and somebody pointed out something recently, simply acknowledging something has the ability to change it. It's like that wave particle thing, like just looking at a particle will change how it's behaving. And just looking at our own behavior allows us to shift it. So if we just become aware that we're doing something, we don't have to fight so hard to change it. We see it, and there's a tendency of a grace coming in as we see it, and we can shift it, and we can take that energy and we can allow it to transform just by looking at it and saying, wow, right now I'm being kind of controlling, or I'm being manipulative, or I'm being angry, or I'm being emotional, and all of those things are good. Let's see, Alwyn Flowing Spirit said, would you agree that sometimes we must be more selfish in order to truly learn to give to others? Absolutely. Like this idea of selfishness, it's another one of those words that is, it can be used to, I think it can be used to manipulate and control others. Sometimes we need to be selfish. Sometimes we, what is selfishness? It's looking out for ourselves. It's saying that I'm valuable, and what I need and want right now is valuable. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the ways that we create boundaries. I'm selfish with my energy sometimes because I don't necessarily want to share it with others, or everyone. I have specific people that I feel there's this energetic reciprocity with, and that's comfortable. But be selfish sometimes. I think that's absolutely valid. Thank you for saying that, Alwyn Flowing Spirit, because I think that's a really good point. And sometimes, if something is not working for you, it's just not working for you. And there's no shame in that. And there's no guilt that you need to carry around for that. Is that selfish? Maybe that's selfish, and that's a good selfish. I think the selfish that doesn't work is if somebody else is needing more of something and you can't give it to them, but you want them to stay around, or it's always about you and it's never about somebody else if you're in relationship. And who am I to judge? I don't know, but if I know that people tend to feel resentment if there's not reciprocity in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or a work relationship, and that selfishness can be challenging. So anyway, I wanted to talk about that. Opening up to your larger self, your bigger self, your connection with spirit is so much easier when you allow yourself to be in that small self and to allow your child self to express herself. Allow yourself to weep and moan and yell and be angry. Maybe not at somebody else, but in your own space. And honor that expression. And then when you go through that, then you're able to see the bigger picture. You're not allowed, but you're more capable and able to expand into that larger self and take it all in and flow more freely. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Mwah! Love you. Bye.